Arkansas Legislature's Investigative Committee will file an ethics complaint against Central Arkansas's public water utility. This after a staff email was revealed advocating against Senate Bill 71, and that bill would end state-sponsored affirmative action here in Arkansas. The sponsor of that bill, Senator Dan Sullivan, joins us today. Hello.
Hello, and thank you very much. Yeah, Senate Bill 71 made it through the Senate committee and the Senate floor and made it through the House committee and died on the floor of the House. And it would have, as you said, ended state-sponsored affirmative action by the state in procurement and hiring and higher ed. Of course, the Supreme Court came down and followed what we were doing and ended affirmative action in higher ed. And again, I'm so thankful for the steps that University of Arkansas has taken in this area, and of course all of our universities have. We're thankful for that. But during that discussion and debate of that bill, I received an email from either a constituent or a employee of Central Arkansas Water who complained that they got an email from a group called DEI, which is an internal group in Central Arkansas Water: Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And that group sent out an email to apparently all employees. Apparently it leaked out to consumers also, that was opposed to Senate Bill 71. And it called the sponsors and supporters of 71 white supremacists. It had links to other groups that opposed Senate Bill 71, and was a lot of false, just plain false information about the bill. So when I got that email, of course, I called the director, CEO of Central Arkansas Water, and thankfully he shut down the email of DEI immediately, as he should have done, and started an investigation, and I appreciate that. But we decided to dig further into that during joint performance review, because when you have entities like DEI essentially acting as lobbyists. Now, can they lobby? Yes. Freedom of speech, all those good things, they can certainly lobby if they want. However, only the Ethics Commission can determine if they violated lobbying law. So the reason for the investigation that JPR did, Joint Performance Review, was to look and see if any of the lobbying laws were violated. And I clearly think they were. So we had the hearing, and in the course of the hearing, and in preparation for the hearing, I asked our folks to investigate private donations or donations by Central Arkansas Water. And again, just to be clear, can Central Arkansas Water donate to entities of their choice, nonprofits of their choice? Apparently they can. They have a choice to donate to whomever they choose. And the Attorney General's opinion tend to say, as long as the mission of the nonprofit adheres or follows the mission of the agency, they can make those donations. So as you saw, there's $118,000 in donations by CALS to private nonprofits. So to tie it all together, then I'll flip it back to you. To tie it all together, there were two missions: one, to see if DEI via CALS violated lobbying laws, and two, to look into donations made to nonprofits.
It seemed yesterday the bulk of the conversation, while the email was important, and I think it's really interesting that such a large organization could potentially have a rogue group speak on behalf of them, and leadership or CEO, people not know, but the donation part, the spending of taxpayer dollars going to specific groups, I think, and then there not being any type of oversight, I think really raised a lot of questions on both sides of the aisle. I remember watching yesterday, and Representative Ray said, yes, while it may be legal with the state statute that was mentioned, is this appropriate? And what do you say?
Well, I would say it's not appropriate, according, for Dan Sullivan. You and I would like to see the monies used to lower fees, improve infrastructure, all the things that they can use that money for to help the ratepayer. The ratepayer is the one who covers that $118,000. They're the
Right.
ones that cover that. And of course, I asked who had oversight, and Mr. Bohannon said no one. He has
Yeah.
full discretion to donate to whomever he chooses. And Chair Hammer also asked to see who didn't get money. So who asked for money and who didn't get it? Those are
Right.
all really important questions.
I think so too. And then also, I believe it was Representative Flowers. She voiced concern as well. And she said, I'm hearing that constituents don't want utilities involved in political activities, even accidentally either. And she asked him, is that what you're hearing as well? And he said, yes. And I think what's interesting, as you mentioned, Senator Hammer said, okay, so there is a process. Well, I'm sorry, there's not a process, but you are turning away some organizations regarding funding. How is that determined? And is there something else, such as some other model that perhaps Central Arkansas Water is following and how they determine who to give money to?
Sure, and I don't know the answer to that. That would be Mr. Bohannon, and I'll give him credit for acting quickly and the board credit for acting quickly on the lobbying issue. And I'm confident they're going to address that. And we will, again, we have oversight. But as far as the donations, he has complete determination or discretion in how that money is used. And if you look at their 2022 financial plan, they're organized under what they call ESG, environmental, social, and government. That's a national model, in fact, a worldwide model promoted by many on the left, how organized business. And when you look at the list, it appears that the list of folks that he donated to, and he, because it wasn't the group
Right.
that he donated to appear to be in line with the ESG model. Now, whether or not that's true, only he can answer that.
Well, but didn't our legislature pass a bill regarding ESG?
Absolutely. And that bill
Okay.
was fairly narrow, and it related to how the state would invest our money. And the
Okay.
state will not invest in any corporations or companies that follow the ESG model. Now, whether making donations to these groups is outside the parameters of this bill and law, I don't know. It's one of the reasons that we investigate, and then of course the Attorney General and ethics will make determinations. So it's one of the reasons we referred this to the Ethics Commission.
So moving forward, what would you say to companies like this who, as we mentioned, yes, it's legal, is it appropriate? Processes, steps that need to be in place, that way they can be accountable for these funds.
Sure, and I think the ratepayer surely need to know if they're using this. I asked Mr. Bohannon yesterday if they surveyed their ratepayers on if these were the companies they wanted to donate to and how they felt about that. And apparently there were no efforts to find out what the ratepayers thought about this. So one, I would say it's incumbent upon entities to find out if their ratepayers want to support these kinds of organizations. You and the listeners probably all have seen the little check this box if you want to add $1 or $10 or whatever to make a donation to such and such company. And people can donate if they want. But to assume that your ratepayers all want to donate to that list, I think is an assumption that goes far beyond what the authority vested in them.
I think the overwhelming theme that I heard from you, Senator Hammer, Dismang, Flowers, was just concern about the accountability or the outcome, and that without having input from these ratepayers, from these taxpayers, that can go sideways really fast.
Yeah, I think I think the gun owners of Arkansas are going to apply for a donation because many of the people who are ratepayers in this area are members and own guns. And I think they'll likely apply. And who did and who didn't get money is really up to question. And I think Mr. Bohannon really, and other CEOs of our public utilities really need to consider whether or not they're going to donate to these groups and why, and then tell their ratepayers why they're donating to those people. I think that's what they need to do. And just so your listeners know, and by the way, I really appreciate helping get the word out, that we will be looking into all the governmental energy providers and in the utilities of the state and asking the same question of all of them: where's the money going and why?
We love accountability here at
Amen.
Conduit. Anything else that you want us to know? And then how long, as far as a timeline, what does this look like regarding the complaint?
Yeah, sure. We will look into, I think next week we'll be surveying our public utilities, and it should take them not very long to get back. So I would hope in October, when JPR meets again, that we had the results of this, at least some results, to put out to the people pretty quickly.
All right. Anything else that you'd like to add before we let you go?
No, that'll do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.